Brandon Gill had enough of this woke witness. During a House hearing, Brandon tried to explain the high level of welfare dependence in the Somali-American community, but the witness focused on terminology instead of the facts, which quickly turned into an interesting back and forth. And today, we're covering it all. So if you believe truth isn't partisan, hit the subscribe button and let's jump right into it.
Here, I want to start with you, Mr. Balu. Again, thank you for being here. Let me ask you, does large-scale Somali immigration make Minnesota stronger or weaker?
Certainly stronger.
Certainly stronger. Do you know what percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on food stamps?
No.
54%. Do you know what that number is for native Minnesota-headed households?
Well, to be clear, a majority of the...
It's 7%. There's a big difference between 54% and 7%, is there not?
Excuse me, sir, could I answer the question?
Let me move on. We've got a lot of questions here. What percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on Medicaid?
I don't know.
It's 73%. Do you know what that number is for Minnesota native households?
Again, you're using the phrase Minnesota native households, but the majority...
The number is 18%. That's quite an astounding difference. I think we would agree.
Can I answer the question, please?
Let me ask you one more, and then we can go on to that. What percentage of Somali-headed households are on welfare in general?
I don't know.
It's 81%. What about, let me just ask you, after 10 years of being in the United States, what percentage of Somali immigrant households continue to be on welfare?
I don't know.
The number is 78%.
Now, these numbers might sound unbelievable at first, but they're as real as it gets. The figures were highlighted in a detailed report by the Center for Immigration Studies, and one key finding from that piece stated that, quote, nearly 89% of Somali households with children in Minnesota receive some form of welfare. FactCheck.org initially questioned the claim, but they followed up with Susan Brower, who is Minnesota's state demographer, and she confirmed the state data shows that between 2019 and 2023, 84% of the roughly 60,000 estimated individuals reporting Somali ancestry in Minnesota received some sort of benefits, whether from state programs or federal assistance. Now, the overall Somali-American population in Minnesota is larger than that sample, but these data points still point to a worrying pattern worth examining.
So even after 10 years, 78% of Somali immigrant households continue to be on welfare. Do you know what that number is for native Minnesota-headed households?
Again, you're using
non-Somali immigrant-headed households.
If I can just answer the question, when you're using the phrase native Minnesotans, the majority of Somali Minnesotans are as Minnesotan as any of us. They were born in the United States. It's only 8,000 of the 108,000 Somali
nevertheless, the welfare usage is astoundingly different. Let me ask you again, does that make Minnesota stronger or weaker?
Again, I'd like the opportunity to answer the question here.
Go for it.
Again, the majority of Somali Minnesotans are born in the United States, as I understand it.
Okay, well, what percentage of working-age Somalians who have been in the U.S. for 10 years or more, how many of them speak English very well?
I don't know.
About half. The answer is about half. That seems pretty low, doesn't it?
Again, I keep trying to...
That doesn't sound like something that makes our country stronger to me, and I think most Americans would agree with me on that.
It's true that many Somali Americans were born in the United States, and a large portion of the community holds citizenship. That means they do not face the obstacles of securing work permits or navigating complex legal processes just to remain in the country. Given these conditions, you'd expect that after a decade, the community would be more economically stable. Yet the situation on the ground suggests otherwise. One factor often mentioned is the language barrier, since Somali does not rank among the most commonly spoken languages nationwide, which can create challenges when it comes to employment and integration. Brandon then moved to Minnesota state lawmakers, asking what Tim Walz had done to deal with the real issues he mentioned. But before we play that, we have a quick message from today's sponsor. America just made a $2.7 billion move, and it is all about uranium. On January 5th, 2026, the U.S. Department of Energy allocated $2.7 billion to revive domestic uranium enrichment. Now, that's more than routine funding. It marks a strategic shift. The U.S. consumes over 50 million pounds of uranium each year, yet produces under 1 million pounds domestically. At the same time, Russia holds a significant share of global enrichment capacity, and Greenland has shut down uranium mining. The message from Washington is clear. Energy independence now stands at the center of national security, and the supply chain needs to return home. Now, this is where Atomic Minerals enters the picture. Trading under Atom on the TSX Venture and OTC under ATMMF is a team with real history. Members of leadership were involved in the discovery and subsequent $654 million sale of the Rough Rider deposit to Rio Tinto. The question is simple. Can they repeat that success? Atomic controls 4 fully owned uranium projects in the Colorado Plateau, an area that has produced more than 597 million pounds historically. Its flagship, South Lisbon Valley East in Utah, lies within a district that has already generated 80 million pounds. The foundation is solid, and the company stands to benefit from policy momentum in Washington. I'll leave you with this. This leadership team once delivered a $654 million exit. Today, the valuation is a fraction of that, while uranium prices push towards triple digits. So, if you want the full story, check out the link in the description. Special thanks to Atomic Minerals for making today's video possible.
On Ms. Robbins, when would you say we concretely knew that widespread welfare fraud was occurring in Minnesota?
There have been reports since 2009 from the Office of Legislative Auditor. I would say the credible reports on childcare fraud started surfacing 2011 to 2013.
So for over a decade.
Yes, sir.
When do you think Governor Walz knew about this fraud?
From the very beginning. He was running for governor in 2018 when there were prosecutions going on, when there was an OLA report, active cases in the news all the time.
And what was the Walz administration's response?
They actually did nothing when they got into office, and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan had been on the committee in the legislature that had hearings on child care fraud, and when they got into office, they did put $5 million into a little more money, but nothing changed.
Now, to be fair, the Walz administration did alert federal authorities about the Feeding Our Future scheme. But beyond that step, their response appeared largely passive. Just think about it. If even a small portion of the money lost to fraud had gone towards integration programs such as language instruction or job training, the outcome could have been very different. Instead, much of the focus stayed on expanding welfare assistance, which brings to mind the old saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Now, some state lawmakers argue that political considerations played a role in how the situation was handled. Here's what they have to say.
Mr. Hudson, thank you for being here. Did those who commit this fraud, do they typically vote for Republicans or Democrats, in your opinion?
In my opinion, thank you for qualifying it like that, I would say they most definitely overwhelmingly vote for Democrats.
Do they typically donate to Republicans or Democrats?
Not to my knowledge. They don't donate to Republicans, they donate to Democrats, in my opinion, yes.
Got it. So would you say this is the Somali population is an important demographic for Democrats to win over politically?
Unquestionably.
Got it. And do you think it would have hurt Democrats' political standing with the Somali population to investigate this fraud?
Very clearly.
Got it. So in other words, you're saying that there was a political incentive to cover up widespread Somali fraud. Is that right?
100%.
Did the Walz administration and Democrats intentionally, in your opinion, overlook this fraud while it was happening for political gain? I'll start with you, Ms. Robbins.
Absolutely. We have credible whistleblower reports that the Department of Human Services administration up to the OIG and the commissioner met with a group called the Minnesota Minority Child Care Association multiple times, and that they were trying to weaken protections. We wanted,
Right.
we had several changes we wanted to do, and they opposed all of them.
Now, honestly, based on everything revealed so far, if the evidence holds up in court and no senior officials face consequences, then the entire process means very little. Hearings alone do not solve anything. without accountability for those who steal taxpayer money, in addition to those who enable it in the first place, then what's the point of all this? Another point is that this should not be treated as a Republican or Democratic issue. Fraud of this scale affects everyone who pays taxes, including independents.